what's up, people? Welcome back to the Real Deal Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kiana, and I'm here with Kat and Tojo. I can't believe I got that right. I was about to say something completely different. But thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Yes, of course.
And today...
My pleasure.
And... wait, I lost my train of thought. Forgive me, I'm just so tired. I just buried 2.5 hours of homework, so if I'm sounding a little groggy today, just don't judge me for it. But today, I thought that we would talk about TV shows, but not just TV shows in general, but basically the news that, and streaming services. But to get into it, I would just say that, did you guys hear the news that HBO Max and Discovery Plus are merging together into one?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which means another $6 or $7 out of my banking account that I won't be spending. But
Oh my gosh, there are already so many streaming services.
yeah, but now that I think about it, I now know that my mom, she pays for Netflix, HBO Max, and for my Disney Plus. Now that I think
Oh
about
wow.
it.
Okay, that's actually okay. That's good.
Yeah, and I just canceled my Discovery Plus account.
But now you have HBO Max.
Yeah, I know. I've been had that. But, like, that's the thing. Like, I've had HBO Max, but, like, I haven't really had the time to watch any of the TV shows that's been on there because Elvis just came on HBO Max. I'm dying to see that. People are saying it's really good. And then there's this show on HBO called The Sex Life of College Girls. It's really good, too. It's on season 2. I don't know whether or not that one's canceled. See, that's the thing. HBO Max had to cancel most of these shows because Discovery Plus, they're merging together, and that was the same thing with Discovery Plus. But I will say this, when I first heard the news, I was wondering what kind of name would that go under? Like HBO Discovery Plus or Discovery HBO Max Plus? Like,
Discovery Max.
Discovery Max.
doesn't roll off the tongue.
Oh no, it doesn't.
I think whatever they go with, it'll definitely show which one's the more dominant company of the two.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna guess that it's HBO.
Yeah,
It's more
totally.
mainstream.
Because first of all, Euphoria, that's one.
That's the only, honestly, I don't have an HBO Max account, but I did use one of my friends so that I could watch Euphoria. It's the only reason that I like.
Was it because we did like that whole like Euphoria recap show
I watched
last year?
Euphoria for the real deal, by the way.
And for Chrissy.
It was really for Chrissy.
Yeah.
But, like, I have no interest in getting an HBO Max account, and I still don't now that Discovery Plus is on it.
I respect that just because, most, like, these days streaming services can really, like,
Rack up some dollars.
Yeah, and on top of that, streaming services have become a little bit controversial, especially during the pandemic, just because when the pandemic hit, we couldn't go to movies, and there were a lot of movies that were supposed to be coming out in theaters, but then everything got shut down, so everything was coming to streaming services.
Right.
Which I do get because me personally, I just remember going to the movies with my auntie, and we used to go to the $5 movie theaters, and I would pick any movie I want. So that's the nostalgia that I miss about movie theaters, because the last movie that I went to go see in a theater was Black Panther with my stepdad. Yeah, I know.
It's quite a while.
Yeah, but it was 3 months after the movie came out, or I think maybe 2 months. I don't know, but I do get why people have their opinions about streaming services. Not only because they cost a lot of money, but just like missing that experience of going to the movie theaters, which I get. But then it gives people the opportunity to just watch the movies that they couldn't because some people can't afford to go to the movie theaters.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's convenient for them to already have it at their homes, with the click of a button of the remote. It kind of reminds me back of the DVD days, not really, but because when a movie came out in theaters, you would have to wait at least 4 or 5 months for it to be released on DVD and Blu-ray, and you could watch it. But this one, it just comes out at least 2 or 3 months later after the theatrical release.
Right. I literally just got into a debate about this topic with my professor, Ben Strack, if you're watching. And
Shots fired.
and it was whether movie theaters, who wants to go to movie theaters anymore? And how movie theaters are a dying business because people are streaming things at home now, and I don't like going to movie theaters.
Really?
That's okay.
It's too crowded for me. It's too loud. Every time I go, I get a headache. I don't like the smell of popcorn. There's too many factors into going to movie theaters for me. And it's also you have to go at a very specific time to see things, but you're also watching an hour of ads beforehand, where I could just watch the same thing for the runtime only on a streaming service that I already have in the comfort of my own bed. Without the smell of popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, I beg to say that I absolutely love movie theaters, and
Yeah,
I
me
definitely think, the more important thing is more about the experience than it is the actual content. Like the content will
Yeah.
always be something.
Because we already know what the movie's going to be about, so.
Yeah, but the main thing I'm worried about with the merger is that they'll overvalue themselves, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it'll be like a cable situation where we're paying for shows that we don't care about.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that it will at least double in price. The things you pay monthly.
I don't know about that per se, because with Discovery Plus, it's $4.99 a month, and then with HBO, I think it's like $9.99 or $12.99 a month. So I don't know. Maybe they'll find like a balance. If you ask me, I think like if they merge them together and then they balance the price out, I would say like around like $7, maybe $8.99.
I was thinking it'll be probably like $14.99. Like they're already raising Netflix prices.
Well, yeah. I'm still boycotting that, by the way. But
Me too, by the way.
But with Discovery Plus, like, if you think about it, it's just mostly like, well, not all of them, but most of them are just like reality shows. And
But people will pay to watch reality shows.
well, yeah, but me personally, I'm not really a reality show kind of girl unless if it's okay. Like I'll watch a first episode of a new reality show that somebody may have come out with, and I'm like, okay, if I like it, then I'll watch it. But if I don't, then I'll just why bother watching it? Like, okay, for example, like the Kardashians, yeah, that I will watch, but not like every single episode, because like the Kardashians, like, ooh, because I hear about it like almost the next day, and then I won't be able to watch it. So I can watch it and I can't. And then like I just remember getting Discovery Plus, and I was like, should I even get it in the first place? Because I'm like, what type of reality shows am I gonna watch besides Man vs. Food and Say Yes to the Dress?
What is on Discovery Plus? What type of things are on there?
Let me see.
I know that recently with the merger, they're gonna be adding a lot of the home building shows, the home like renovating shows.
Property Brothers.
Yeah.
Like Home Improvement.
Home Hunters.
Yeah, especially those.
I do know those
Into
shows because my
HBO.
mom does watch those shows. I'm personally a big fan of Property Brothers because I love Drew and son.
I think my issue is that I have never had cable, so I don't know what's on Discovery. So it's like I don't know what I'm missing out on, so I don't care.
Okay, so it's basically most of the shows from TLC, HGTV, and Discovery Channel, pretty much. So,
Okay.
like with TLC, like one of my favorite reality shows, and people are gonna think that this is kind of gross, but I do like watching Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh my.
I know.
You can like that. I don't, but
Yeah.
good for you.
I definitely get what you mean, but I'm not part of that demographic.
Yeah,
Me
I know.
either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, people would think that I would be grossed out by it, but me and my brother actually watch it. But like, I'm not gonna go into any more further detail because I don't want to gross you two out. But that's just one reality show I watch. And then with HGTV, they have Fixer Upper with Joanna Gaines and her husband, and then. Let me see. They also have with Discovery Channel. They have like different documentaries of like different people, or different or like crime documentaries, or like historical figure documentaries. So it's all combined into Discovery Plus with those 3 channel networks, pretty much.
It's all like true stories, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like,
Not a fan, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that was another reason why like I was like, should I even waste like the $4.99 to just get the subscription in the first place? Because I'm not really gonna watch any of these new shows except the shows that I watch. But then my mom was like, hey, she called me one time in my room, and she was like, hey, do you think you have Discovery Plus? I'm like, I used to. Why? She was just like, oh no reason. I think she wanted me to like get it back because she does watches those shows, like I said, House Hunters. She watches Property Brothers. She watches my 600 pound life.
This sounds like something that my mom would like.
Yeah, and Hoarders and all that stuff. So basically, I had to cancel it, but it's only a matter of time before I get a phone call from her in the next few days, being like, "Why did your subscription cancel?" I'm like, "I didn't have enough." But then like, as far as canceled shows go on Discovery Plus, like,
They're canceling a lot, aren't they?
I know.
Oh yeah.
Especially, like, I know this is way off topic from HBO and Discovery, but I went into this last week. The CW, who is known for shows like The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, yeah. They pretty much canceled their entire CW lineup except for a few shows like All American, Kung Fu, Gotham Knights, and a new supernatural spinoff called The Winchesters.
Really?
Yeah.
I have such strong feelings about that.
I'm actually going to review that for, like, I'm actually writing a piece about that show once it comes out. But other than that, like, The Flash has been renewed for season 9, and it's the final season, and that's pretty much their whole entire CW lineup. The only problem with that is because CW was trying to make a deal with this company called Nexstar to buy at least, like, 65% of the company. Like, I get it from, like, a business standpoint because most of the CW shows happen to be on Netflix, and I guess the CW and Nexstar were just looking at streaming numbers based on the CW shows, and The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, All American, and let me see, I think Supergirl and Arrow, before they got canceled, those were the highest streaming shows that were streaming on Netflix. And even though, like, some shows, like Roswell, New Mexico, represent over there, but it was doing well for streaming services, but then it got canceled after because CW thought, like, well, it's steady in numbers, but it's just not it's not at a high percentage as the other popular CW shows like The Flash and All American. And the thing that bugs me the most about that is not only did they cancel, like, great quality programming, I mean, you can be a fan of it or you don't, but the thing is, like, the CW, they say that they dare to defy, like, expectations and diversity, and I kind of feel like they kind of had a good realm on diversity until they just scraped all the TV shows.
Yeah.
Because
What, like, most media companies have a big issue of doing is saying that they are, like, very diverse and then canceling a show after the first season.
Yeah.
Like, specifically the diverse ones.
yeah, and some people may have strong opinions about that. It's good or it's bad, and you can go up or down. But then, like, the ratings and the numbers on streaming services, and when the episode premieres, they actually do really, really good.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, after a season or two, like, they just scrape it.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, when I heard, like, the one show that I heard of was Legends of Tomorrow, and I don't watch that show, but I just appreciate, like, you know, that show because it had so much diversity in
Yeah.
it, from, like, you know, Sarah Lance and her girlfriend getting married, and then, you know, all the other superheroes that came into play, and, like, Wally West from The Flash, he was black, he was a black kid Flash. That's what I really appreciated about it. But then to go on and cancel it and then leave the viewers on a cliffhanger after that was another thing that kind of took me off, because I felt bad, because I truly believe that TV shows, even if they're, you know, meh or really good or not that great, they deserve to have some closure to them, even if they get canceled or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to leave that, like, constantly the idea that everything should have a closure, but that, I guess it's just sometimes unrealistic. Because some
I
things,
mean,
like
yeah.
the best endings we don't want it rushed or half-assed because
Well, yeah.
it's just going out of business.
Yeah, there's a lot of instances where I'd rather you just stop.
Well, yeah.
Like, Supernatural.
Leave the good notes there while
Right.
they're still alive.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that sequel, just to be honest, because Jensen Ackles, who played Dean on the show, his wife and him are actually executive producing that show. So, like, I can see your hesitation, but then, like, I truly do feel like, you know, they both can lead the story in a way that at least he can remember, because he's been on the show for 15 years. But I just really hope that it sticks within the original thing, but, like, at the same time I do get why, because, you know, Dean's in it, but where's Sam? And, you know, like, it's going back to where John and Mary Winchester first met, but then, like, will it make sense within the supernatural stuff that we've seen for 15 years?
Exactly.
So I get that. So I'm kind of scared about that, but I always try to, like, whenever a new TV show comes out, I always try to, like, don't judge it yet. Just watch the first episode.
Oh,
and
I'm
then
so judgy.
if you like it, and if I like it, then I like it. If I don't, I'll have to watch it a second time just to make sure that I like it, or if I don't. But I don't know. I'm optimistic about it, but we shall see. But that's just me whenever a new TV show comes out. Like, don't judge it yet. Unless if it's like a real TV show that you're really passionate about and you know it so well, yeah, that's different. But other than that, like, we shall see.
Yeah.
Watch it first and then decide if you hate it after. That's
Yeah.
just like the motto you should always go by.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to just follow the media. What they say is like, man, this movie sucks. And you're like, just morph your opinion based off that.
Yeah, you don't know until you actually watch it. And you can hear from all your friends being like, oh yeah, this TV show sucks, or like, it's not worth your time. And most of the time, they have been right. Like, I just remember watching this TV show of a pilot that they recommended that I watch, and it was getting so hyped up. I don't remember the name of it, but then I was like, it wasn't bad, but it was meh.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I don't think I could see myself watching at least like a few more episodes of it, because like the plot wasn't strong enough. Like the comedy was mostly deadpan, and not that I don't have anything wrong with deadpan humor, but like it was just like constantly like I needed something like more like upbeat and fresh. So, but yeah, that's just me personally. But and there's been a lot of TV shows that I have been like kind of sad that got canceled. Like for one, in particular, there was this show on Freeform called Young and Hungry, and it left us on a big cliffhanger. There were 5 seasons of that show, and funny.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, and funny enough, the girl who played Lily on Hannah Montana, she played the main girl Gabby on the show, where it was pretty much how she gets this job as like a private shed to this millionaire tech consultant, or like this guy who owns a tech company, and you know they end up having dinner. He makes them dinner for a trial dinner, and then they end up getting drunk, and then they have sex the next night, and then you know all of this like goes on for 5 seasons, and then Josh, that's his name, he plans to propose to Gabby, but then she decides to go to San Francisco to take a job at a Top Chef's restaurant. And he was going to propose, and then she told him what was going to happen, and then, you know, and then she ends up getting on one knee, and then she was like, will you marry me and come with me to Seattle? And then that was it. Even though, like, I knew even if we weren't going to get that scene that all the fans have been hoping for, I knew that they were going to get together in the end, because they had history together, and you know they've been through their relationship drama like almost every couple does in this world. But
It's getting to the point where it feels like every show is the same.
you think so?
Like I think that's just that a lot of companies play into genre too much, and then they play into like what the audience expects to happen. They do that so that the audience isn't disappointed, and I'm not personally a fan of that. It's a lot of like playing for audience expectations.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's another thing too about the industry. Like I say, it's forever changing, it's ever evolving, but I just feel like at this point they're kind of like regurgitating material at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like doing the exact same thing, and like, you know, nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with all these reboots and all, like, you know, these reunions and everything like that. But for me personally, it just depends. Some things should just be left alone. I mean, it was made like that for a reason. But then it just depends on if you have the right cast, the right crew, the right director, the right producers, the right writers for making all of that possible. And then, you know, maybe it'll pay off in the end, maybe it won't.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, the industry should really think about just expressing new content, because, you know, we're not living in the 1980s or the 1990s anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with reliving those moments. Like, nothing's wrong with having a disco party and watching Saturday Dance and Saturday Night Fever all the time. Sorry, I got my words mixed up. And reliving that nostalgia of it. But, like, do you think it would be possible to do a reboot of that movie?
Boy, will they probably try.
They
Yeah,
definitely
that's
will.
the thing.
It's about money nowadays.
Yeah,
It's
that's
all about money. It's all about profit. They don't care whether or not like the movie is good. They care about whether or not the movie will be watched.
Yeah, and that's what really saddens me, because I feel like the entertainment industry is forgetting, like, you know, the talent and the creativity that goes into making these projects. Like, for example, when you first watched Titanic or Dirty Dancing for the first time, you remember what it was like to be so in love and so, like, indulged in that movie, because it brought back so many great feelings. And, like, when you watched it for the first time, you couldn't help but fall in love with it. But then, like, making new material these days, I just feel like they just don't want to, because I do agree with you, it is about money. But then at the same time, I just feel like Hollywood is just afraid to try and, like, get out there, because I thought that's what being an artist was about, breaking barriers and just, putting new content out there.
That's what it's like to be an artist in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you become an artist, it's about staying well-liked
Consistent.
and loved and consistent and out, like, making sure that you're in the public eye.
Yeah.
That does beg the question: what is the next best original? What do you think's up there?
I don't know.
That's a good
What do you
question.
think's being like dug up right now? What do you think
Right.
producers,
What in
directors
10
are making
years
right
will we
now?
be like, yeah, that's classic?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
I'll be honest. The last time I was hyped for a movie or a show was recently come out Bullet Train, which is like a really like take on the classic idea of just like an enclosed area, but like all these actors have to do like entire story.
Oh, I think I may know what you're talking about, but I was gonna go into real quick. The show Walker, Texas Ranger. They did a whole reboot of that show called Walker, who was played by Jared Padalecki, who played Sam Winchester on the show.
It all comes back to Supernatural, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, I've been obsessed with that show ever since this summer. Like criticize it for me later, but
Oh boy, will I.
but I've watched like at least like 2 episodes of that show, and it's actually not bad. Like I said, it all goes back to the writing and the producers of trying to make a reboot of an iconic show that people made famous for. But like
It feels like living vicariously through your children when you're making a reboot. Like let it go.
I
Move on.
never really thought of it to think of it that way until you actually just said it. I'm like, I wonder what would happen if my mom was like, hey, they're making a reboot of The Bodyguard. How would you think about that? I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. But unfortunately, we are out of time. But I want to thank you both for joining me today. This was a very insightful conversation and fun. And I'm sorry to bring it back to Supernatural. I'm so sorry. I love that show. I'm such a Dean Winchester girl. But anyway, I want to thank you all for joining us today. And make sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.